Hi everyone, I'm doing another video, and this probably should have been my first video, but hey, all good. So I wanted to get into a little bit about what community service looks like, only because I feel that sometimes people think that community service is, just a food pantry, or it's feeding the homeless, or that kind of stuff. And I wanted to just clarify what community service means through Acts, because it may be a little bit different. But the first thing I wanted to do before I even get into that is I wanted to give you a big disclaimer and just, give you a heads up that as you go into community service, there is a harsh reality that you're going to have to face, and that will sort of help us to go into community work, not with like our eyes closed kind of thing. Community service is not about getting converts, and that might just have completely shattered your dreams. The only reason why I say that is because community service takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of dedication. And if you want to do community service in its true essence, which is just a desire to serve people, it actually has to be done in a way that is very intentional about desiring to serve people rather than desiring to convert people. And that is very different. As we look at the examples of what Jesus' ministry looks like, when he was in service to people, when he came to minister to people, he took very practical ways of doing that. It was most commonly, he was just looking at their needs and fulfilling those needs on a physical level. And then by default, he was also given the opportunity to then, provide for their spiritual needs. So I believe that also works with community service. But our main focus through Acts specifically is to provide for people's physical needs, and to provide for our community in the services that they need, whatever that looks like. And then by default, God will definitely provide opportunities for us to also provide for their spiritual needs. But the hard thing is that as you go into community work, if you feel that it will be, within 6 months, your church membership will have doubled, you'll have had baptisms, you'll be doing Bible studies, and if you go into that kind of mindset, and if you have those types of expectations and place those expectations on your community service, I want to let you know you're going to be very disappointed, and you will decide that your community service is not successful. You will see your community service as a failure. So I really wanted to just bring that out, because if we go into it with that kind of mindset, our community service won't be sustainable. We'll get to a point where we'll get discouraged and disappointed, and we'll just give up. We'll just say, what do we have to show for this? And if the only measure of success for your community service is church attendance and baptisms, you're going to decide that it's just not worth it. So through Acts, the main reason why we wanted to do community work is because we wanted to be a representative of the Adventist church in our community through the programs that we run, but also through our involvement in community programs and in our support of other organizations that are in our community. So that's really important as well, to understand that it isn't purely about providing services in the church, even though they're very valuable, and I believe depending on what resources the church has, they can provide different services within the church itself. But it's also been intentional about stepping out of the church and finding what programs, what events, and what organizations we can work with and we can support as Seventh-day Adventist. And like I said in one of my other videos, I just didn't want people to continue having this idea of us, just being the Mormons or the Jehovah's Witnesses. I wanted them to know who Adventists were as people. And from there on, hey, you guys, what's the difference between your denomination and some other denomination? Primarily, our focus through doing community work at our local church was just to be a representative of the Seventh-day Adventist church outside of the Seventh-day Adventist church. So that's something that's really important, and I believe that if that is the desire that God has placed on our hearts, is just to be influential in our community and to be a support for our community, then I believe that community service will be something that will be extremely fulfilling for you on a personal level and fulfilling as a church. So we have different people in our team and different people in our church that are involved in different programs. We have one of our team members, she does Meals on Wheels. I attend a lot of events that are run in Gin Gin. So if there's a breakfast, I try to go to breakfasts. If there's like a craft morning, I like to go to the craft morning. There's a play group for kids under 5. My kids are 8 and 9 and I still go, and they're very welcoming of me there with our girls. I attend different other programs that are run. If there's workshops, I go to that. I went to a woodworking workshop. The only reason why I go to those types of things is because I want to create connections. I want to create some sort of bond with people outside of our Adventist circle. And in doing that, you learn so much about people, and you learn so much about how your faith relates to people without, even telling them that you're Christian. But it just puts us out in a position where we can minister to people on such a different level. It just stretches our outreach and our ministry because we are dealing with just different type of people that, one, might not even be Christian, and second, people that aren't even Adventist. So yeah, I found that was a real big benefit of just getting out of our church circle and getting into community work. But also I just found it was very fulfilling just being part of different programs within our community. It's great to see other organizations just planning programs and trying to find, where there's an area that is lacking. And if I can be part of that, if I can be a supporter and encouragement to that organization in what they're doing and something that I believe is good as well, then it just is so much more encouraging. There's just so much more purpose. And because of that, God opens doors up and God opens opportunities to have spiritual conversations with people. It may not always happen, and that's okay. I feel when you have a spiritual conversation, it's just a bonus. But to be able to be in those programs with a willingness to serve, not only that organization, but to serve the people that they are serving through their programs and through their events, that's the blessing right there. So that's what I really wanted to just clarify with everyone, that community service isn't purely running programs at church. It's actually going out and getting into the community and doing programs with them and just being supportive of whatever it is that they feel is something that is needed within our area. And through that, you just create awesome connections. There's a lot of networking. Because of that, we have different organizations that approach our church to support them as well, and they refer people to our services and we refer people to their services, and that has created just a real transparency. It's created a lot of people can trust us. People know that we're reliable. People know that we have a desire, like we're observant of what our community needs, and we're willing to fill that gap. We're willing to build that bridge for people to get to those services and to fill those needs that they're having. So yeah, that's what community service is all about. I will go into a little bit more specific into what we do and how we do it in another video. But yeah, I did want to clarify that community service is not connected in any way to converting people or to baptisms or Bible studies, because otherwise you will be really discouraged. That's not what the focus of community service is, at least through Acts. That's not what our focus is. Our focus is to be the hands and feet of Jesus through community events, through community functions, and through assisting and supporting organizations. And however they see Christ through us and in us, God will work out. And when those spiritual opportunities present themselves, then of course we're gonna take them and make the most of them as well. But yeah, so don't feel that is what the purpose of community service is. Otherwise you'll get discouraged. All right, I'm under 10 minutes, so I'm gonna finish up and I'll post another video. So the next step that we'll be looking at with the 5 steps of Acts is recruiting. All right, I have 10 seconds. See you. Bye.